The Craxian refugee ship drifted through the debris field like a dying ember in the void. Its hull, once adorned with the intricate scale patterns of the dragon folk, was scorched black from atmospheric burns and plasma fire. Inside, Lisa pressed her clawed hand against the cracked viewport, watching human salvage vessels pick through the wreckage of what had been her people's final stand. "They're going to finish us," she whispered, her reptilian features drawn with exhaustion. Her wings, magnificent appendages that had once caught solar winds on her homeworld, hung limp and torn against her back. The other survivors huddled in the shadows of the cargo bay. 12 souls from a civilization of billions. Children with barely formed wings clutched to their parents. Elders who'd witnessed the Craxian golden age now sat in silence, their iridescent scales dulled by despair. A metallic clang code through the hull. Boarding tubes were attaching. Lisa's hand moved instinctively to the plasma cutter at her hip. A tool, not a weapon, but it would have to do. "Get behind the containers," she ordered. Her voice carried the authority of someone who had eons commanded fleet escorts, though that rank meant nothing now. The airlock hissed open. A single figure stepped through, wearing a grease-stained jumpsuit and carrying a toolkit that had seen better days. Human male. His dark hair was peppered with gray, and his hands bore the calluses of decades working with machinery. James looked around the cargo bay with the practiced eye of someone who assessed problems for a living. His gaze settled on Lisa, taking in her defensive posture. The malnourished children, the failing life support systems blinking their warnings. "The ship's not going to make it another week," he said matter-of-factly. No weapon drawn, no threat issued. "We know," Lisa replied, her translator chip rendering her words in flat, emotionless English. "We have nowhere to go." The human tilted his head slightly. "The Coalition won't take you. The Coalition doesn't recognize asylum for enemy combatants." Lisa's jaw clenched. "We were farmers, artisans, teachers, but our government chose war, and now every dragon is branded a threat." James nodded, slowly, unsurprised. He'd seen this pattern before. Collective punishment disguised as security protocol. He set down his toolkit and pulled out a data pad, fingers dancing across its surface. "Your reactor's running on fumes," he observed. "Thermal regulators are shot. You've been venting atmosphere from Section C for at least 3 days." He looked up. "How many of you are there?" 12. Lisa's grip on the plasma cutter didn't loosen. "Why does it matter to you, human?" "Because," James said, pulling out a plasma torch and approaching the nearest power junction. "I need to know how much weight I'm hauling." Lisa's translator struggled with the implication. "Hauling? You're a salvager. You pick corpses clean." "I'm a mechanic," James corrected, already working on bypassing a blown circuit. "Salvage is just a side gig. And right now, I'm looking at a Craxian transport with incredibly efficient engine design, completely wasted on idiots who didn't maintain their coolant systems." He paused, looking back at her. "Also, I'm looking at 12 people who don't deserve to die in the cold, because politicians couldn't figure out how to not be one of the Craxian children peeked out from behind a container." "Are you stealing our ship, human?" James smiled. The first real expression Lisa had seen on his face. "Kid, your ship is junk." "But my ship has room, not much. And you'll have to share quarters, but it's got working air, working heat, and working food synthesizers." "Why would you help us?" Lisa asked, suspicion heavy in her voice. "Humans and fractions have been at war for 3 years." "Yeah, well, I wasn't at war," James replied, returning to his repairs. "I was fixing mining equipment on Kepler Station. Government doesn't ask my opinion on these things." He connected 2 wires and several overhead lights flickered to life. "Besides, I read your people's engineering journals before all this started. You wrote the book on quantum heat dissipation. Far as I'm concerned, letting that knowledge die would be humanity's loss." Lisa watched him work. This strange human who spoke of engineering with the reverence others reserved for religion. "The Coalition will arrest you for harboring us. They'll have to catch me first," James grinned. "And I know some places in the Outer Rim where Coalition authority is more like Coalition suggestion. We have nothing to offer you. No money, nor sources." James stood, wiping his hands on his jumpsuit. "Actually, you have something better. You see that reactor of yours? Once I get it properly tuned, it'll put out twice the power of anything in my weight class. And those solar sails you use, he gestured at Lisa's wings. I've been trying to figure out how to adapt that biological Tech 4 ship design for 5 years. You want to learn from us? Lisa said, understanding dawning. I want to learn with you, James corrected. There's a colony world, New Perth, 6 weeks from here. No coalition presence, no questions asked. They need mechanics, engineers, people who can build things. He met Lisa's eyes. They need hope. And I think you've still got some of that. Despite everything, Lisa looked at her people, exhausted, terrified, but listening now with something stirring in their expressions. Now you do, James repeated, extending his hand in the human gesture of agreement. If you want it, Lisa's clawed hand hesitated, then clasped his. We'll work for our passage. I'd expect nothing less, James said. Now, let's get your people transferred before this bucket falls apart. And someone's going to have to teach me proper Craxian. That translator is butchering your language. As the dragonfolk began gathering their meager belongings, Lisa noticed a Thesmalist smile crossing the faces of her people, the first she'd seen in months. One human couldn't erase a war, but maybe she thought one human could prove that the war didn't define what came after.